Hello everybody, this is Gretchen Hidell, astrologer, and I am here tonight checking in on a very brief video about the full moon that is coming. We have a full moon coming in Gemini tomorrow, and that's going to be on December 17th. It's going to be taking place in the astrological sign of Gemini at 27 degrees Gemini, so you need to know where 27 degrees Gemini is in your astrological birth chart. But basically, we have an air sign. It's a mutable sign. It's an air sign. So there's a lot of shifting air quality. If you think about the air this week we've had in our country with the wind and the tornadoes and all of the air quality has been very activated. We have air in Gemini now. And so this particular moon is restless. It's curious. It's lively, very talkative, very chatty. I've had a lot of clients reaching out and people asking questions and text messages and all those types of things, because that's all about communication. If you think about Gemini, Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So Mercury is the god, the winged messenger, we call him. He rules over communication, but he also rules over transportation and how we get around. Now, speaking of Mercury, we are less than a month away from Mercury retrograde, which is going to be starting in January soon, 14th, I believe. So that's going to be the start of Mercury retrograde, which is Mercury is currently in Capricorn. But basically, with Gemini being activated, this big full moon cycle, the moon then is opposite of the sun right now. So the full moon is going to be again in 27 degrees Gemini. So the sun is 27 degrees Sagittarius. This always happens during Sagittarius season when the sun and the moon oppose each other. Now, the interesting thing about this particular full moon, you've probably heard of a super moon or me talking about super moons. Well, this is going to be the opposite of that. This is going to be a micro moon. So in fact, when you look at it, it's going to look tiny, tiny, tiny up in the sky because you know, those super moons are big. This is actually going to be furthest away from the Earth. It doesn't mean astrologically that it's any less powerful. But we will definitely be feeling it, you know, either way, it's still a full moon, but it's a micro full moon. So you might notice if you're going to go outside to look at it or take a picture that it looks very far away, and that's why it's a micro full moon. The last time that the moon was new in Gemini was during Gemini season. So we planted the new seeds in Gemini season, and that was on June 10th, 2021. It took place 19 degrees Gemini, and at that time, on June 10th, it was a solar eclipse. So now we are ending that cycle. So we came all the way from June 10th to now. So if you think back in your head what you were doing, you could look at your day timer or even look at a journal entry to see what was going on in my life back then. We're now kind of wrapping that up and ending, a completion, a finishing, because full moons are always about that. It's a completion of a cycle, a peak cycle, wrapping up of a cycle, and we're going to be kind of winding down on that. So it's good to know, again, where Gemini falls in your astrological chart. Now, people often get confused and they say, what does that mean, the degree? Well, basically it means if you were born at the end of Gemini. So if you were around the end of Gemini or even the beginning of Cancer, because that's basically kind of where this full moon is going to be taking place, that's where it hits directly in the astrological chart, but you don't have to be a Gemini in order to feel this full moon. So if you are another air sign, so Gemini, obviously Libra or Aquarius, you will definitely be feeling the air quality because that's highlighted right now. Or if you're a fire sign, so Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, obviously Sagittarius because Sagittarius opposes Gemini. I always like to use the example, Brad Pitt's a Sagittarius and Gemini was Angelina Jolie. So that's an opposite couple right there that got together. You guys will be feeling air or fire feels it most because, hello, fire needs air and air needs fire and all that. So they kind of interplay with each other. You may have a little bit more of a challenge if you are an earth sign or a water sign because air quality, think about air mixing with water, right? That's a hurricane or a typhoon. And then air kind of goes over earth. So air, and if you're a water and earth sign, that might be a little bit more difficult. Also too, you don't have to know, again, what Gemini, where Gemini is in your chart. It's always helpful to know, and you can look that up. But if you don't know, how do you get along with Geminis in your life? That's going to also tell you how you're going to be faring during this particular full moon. Now, Gemini is the lungs and respiratory system of the body. It's also the shoulders, the arms, all the way down to the wrists and the hands. And so if you're looking at what area of the body Gemini affects, that's the area. Also too, again, it's our communication, it's our travel. But I can't mention Gemini without mentioning Gemini's famous quality, which is being a little bit scattered, being a little ungrounded, being a little bit nervous, being a little anxious. That's a very Gemini quality, because if you think about air, air is quite active, right? But sometimes Geminis especially can be very ungrounded. So I'm noticing a lot of clients calling me this week going, oh my God, I don't know what's going on, but I'm just like, da 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 da, you know, and having a lot of anxiety issues. So a good thing for that is, and I have my stone that I wanted to show you for Gemini, is howlite. Now, natural howlite, this is a dyed piece, but natural howlite is actually like, looks more like marble. It's kind of like white with these little black veins running through it, but it doesn't matter if it's dyed or undyed. This is actual howlite. It just has a color put on it. And howlite is wonderful stone for Gemini because it's a very grounding stone. So if you're having any of those sort of more on the negative side of Gemini symptoms, you might want to kind of, you know, think about howlite and or have a piece of it and kind of ground yourself. Now, if you don't have any howlite, any of the dark colored stones will do. Okay, I have some dark colored stones on here. So the onyx, snowflake obsidian, tourmaline, any of those black tourmaline or any of those types of stones. Hematite is another one that I love, and that is also a nice grounding, because we're lacking a little bit of the grounding energy, even though the ruler of Gemini is in an earth sign right now, is in Capricorn. Now, speaking of which, we have another thing happening this weekend. On Sunday, on the 19th, Venus is going to be starting a retrograde cycle in Capricorn, and that's going to start at 5:36 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday. And it's going to go all the way until January, I believe 29th. I don't have it in front of me right now. But that Venus retrograde is all about our love life. So, we're going to end the year with a big retrograde, one retrograde, but it's a big one, and that's Venus retrograde. And so that affects love life and it affects money. So we're about to have a review, okay, in that department. Now, again, it's good to know where Capricorn is in your astrological chart in order to know how that will affect you on a personal level. But we might be a little ungrounded still because of this love life factor that's going to be reviewed and re-reviewed and reviewed again. Exes might come back during this time. Old arguments with our partner might come back at this time. And most of all, when we talk about love, because I always talk about love with a partner, we have to remember, are we giving ourselves self-love? And how do we treat ourselves? Now, in the tarot deck, the the tarot card for the astrological sign of Gemini is the Lover's card. So there's a very intertwining here of Gemini and Capricorn energy that's sort of kind of like interconnected. Those two signs normally don't get along super great, you know, in and of themselves, unless if you're a Capricorn, you have Gemini in your chart, or you're Gemini and you have Capricorn in your chart. Then of course you could get along better. But Capricorn is like, follow the rules, do it the right, you know, and Gemini is like, what? Let's just have fun. Let's move on, you know. So we have a little bit of that sort of play going on between those two, like where on one hand we want to follow the rules, on the other hand we want to explore, we want to have fun, we want to be socialites and party and get to know people and all that kind of stuff. Now obviously it's a little hard with all the COVID restrictions and things happening, But we have to remember, Gemini is the twins. We want to have fun. And also, too, we think about the twins. The twins can be, create a ruckus. You know, those twins, if you ever babysat two kids or twins themselves, I mean, like sometimes one runs one way and then one runs the other way. So that's that scattered Gemini energy that we can have. Now I'm going to pull a card really quickly, but this is the time of the month where we start to release and let go. That's the height of the full moon. And again, it is going to be taking place on tomorrow, Saturday, December 18th at 11:36 p.m. or 8:36 p.m. Pacific time. If you're on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast here, so I always do Eastern time. So you want to be able to let go of whatever is not working for you. This is the time to purge. This is time to get rid of something and let go. And that is basically what we're going to be experiencing on this particular full moon. Now, what do we need to know? I'm going to just pull one particular card for this full moon and this upcoming retrograde phase, which I will hopefully record another video about. What do we need to know? Oh, see, open your heart to love. Open your heart to love. Okay, so I'm going to read the message here. The more you open your heart and pour your love into your creations, the greater their life force energy. So we have to be open, okay, to love. And love instead of fear, okay? Sometimes when we don't have our heart open and we expect to be hurt, we expect to be used, and we expect to be taken advantage of, that kind of almost brings the opposite of what we want, you know, into our life. So open your heart to love, and remove the obstacles and the blockages that we have in ourselves pertaining to love. That's very loosely a Rumi quote. About removing the obstacles and the blockages that we have, because a lot of us have some blockages and some baggage, okay, with love. So we want to be able to be open to that loving, beautiful energy. So I hope that helps. So happy full moon in Gemini tomorrow, and then on Sunday, so that's Saturday, and then on Sunday we have Venus retrograde starting. So happy retrograding as well. Thank you, everybody. If you are interested in a personalized astrological session or a gift certificate for the holidays coming up, I can send you a PDF gift certificate, which is really lovely to give somebody as a gift. All right, take care, everybody. Bye.